If you've been with us the past 3 days and you're joining us again today, thank you so much. And if you're joining us for the first time, it's lovely to have you on board our journey through Holy Week. And as I've been saying throughout the week, our theme is following the Jesus way. And the reason that I've chosen that theme, very simply, we will never know the life that God wants to give us unless we embrace the Jesus way. I have been repeating that, I know many times, but we really need to get hold of it, that if we really want to enter into the life that God longs to give us, we need to trust Jesus, to follow him, to embrace his way in our own life. And we've been doing that through the week. On Monday, we introduced the way of Jesus. On Tuesday, we looked at the importance of letting others serve us, letting others, as it were, wash our feet. Yesterday, we looked at the ministry of small things. And today, our theme is becoming a servant, becoming a servant. I find it very striking that Simon Peter, and you may remember that Simon Peter really resisted Jesus when Jesus wanted to wash his feet. I find it very interesting that when Peter writes his letter later on in the New Testament, that Peter describes himself as a servant. Let me just read that opening verse in 2 Peter. Simon Peter, a servant and apostle of Jesus Christ. You see, Simon Peter has come to know something. He's come to know that servanthood isn't something that we kind of switch on and off when we feel like it. Servanthood is all about embracing the identity of becoming a servant. I want to read to you a quote by Richard Foster. Richard writes these words. He says, "Service is not a list of things that we do, though in it we discover things to do. Rather, it is a way of living." And that's the invitation today for us as we follow Christ, to actually embrace the identity of servant. That is who we are. I never forget the moment that really came home to me. It happened in an event that happened over 20 years ago on a Monday night. Now, Mondays were very special to me because it was the day I took off. And it was the day I kind of switched off things. And it was a day of rest and relaxing and chilling. And every Monday night, I would go out with Debbie and with the kids. We'd go have a pizza, milkshakes, etc. And then we would come home and relax. And on this one particular Monday, as we came back home and as we swung into the circle in which we lived, I noticed immediately that my neighbor was moving bricks from outside his security fence to inside the property. And there were hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of bricks. And I remember saying to Debbie, I wonder how we can get into the house without Alan seeing me. And Debbie said to me, "But Trevor, aren't you supposed to be a servant?" Now, I didn't want her to say that. This was Monday. It was my day off. But she was reminding me that my identity was servant. So I remember going across to Alan, can still remember, and asking him, Alan, can I help you? And I really hoped that he would say, no, don't worry, just go inside. But he said, yes, sure, you can help me. I'll go get another wheelbarrow. And so for the next 3.5 hours, we carted bricks from outside the security fence to inside the security fence. I never forget that. But what I do remember was that following Sunday. I'll never forget that moment as I stood up to preach. I'll never forget there sitting in the middle of the congregation was Alan. Never been to church. Been my neighbor for a number of years. And somehow just in that moment of service, even though it was a bit reluctant, God was able to do something very deep in my neighbor's heart. 2-3 years ago, I had the privilege of burying Alan. I want to invite you today not to see servanthood as a list of things to do. I want to invite you today to embrace servant as your identity. That with Peter, you'll be able to say, I'm a servant of Jesus Christ. So here's the practice for today. Get a piece of paper and just print out on that piece of paper these words. I am called to be a servant of Jesus Christ. Just print out those words. Put the paper in your bag, in your pocket. And every time today you wash your hands, remember the foot washing? Every time today you wash your hands, repeat those words to yourself. I am called to be a servant of Jesus Christ. And I want to suggest, friends, that as we embrace this identity, we discover the life of God. I end with the words of my favorite words of a missionary, Stanley Jones. He was a Methodist missionary in India. And he once said, there are two groups of people in this world. There are those who live for themselves. They are the most miserable bunch you will ever find. And there are those who give their lives away in servanthood. And they are filled with a wild, wild joy. God bless you.